Welcome back to the Black Sheep Podcast.
I'm Jen.
I'm Jess, and I had to start with the love tuner because this is a Welcome to Pride Month episode. And I'm hold on here. Okay, I feel good. I feel ready.
Okay, we needed some love vibration in here.
Get some
just to...
high vibes.
So this podcast, this episode is going to be a little bit more of a controversial one, and this disclaimer is coming from just Jen and Jess. As Jen and Jess, we are a married couple in London, or close to London, Ontario, and we are speaking about Pride Month and why we don't support it. And so
Anymore.
And so this podcast is a little bit more on the controversial side and this goes well with our Black Sheep podcast because we don't align with a lot of the mainstream narratives. And so this podcast episode is going to be touching base on a lot of things that is canceled in our culture here. And a lot of people are afraid to speak about.
I'm not.
Well, and that's why it's important because as a gay couple.
Again, we'll never use labels until it...
Well, like people need to know that because we are married. And as a married gay couple in Ontario, that we don't support Pride Month. We believe in equality. And we believe everybody's equal and we're all brothers and sisters and that we all deserve to live here and be free here. But what's taking place right now in our society, we don't agree with. We don't align with a lot of it because it is no longer equality in our eyes.
So I think we should start the discussion today on why did we support. Because if you know me, you know that I will never delete a social media post because I've come far and wide, up and down, left and right, center, you name it. I've been there. Okay, so I think it's important that we all have, that we can look at ourselves humbly and see where we've come from. So you'll see posts on my Instagram if you scroll down way back to a couple of years where we did attend and
the Pride parades.
Where we did attend the Pride parades and we did support it.
So we had our daughter there. We had our daughter at the one Pride parade because we rode in the parade and she rode in the parade and she was taken. There was a picture of her in the London Free Press.
Front page of the London Free Press. So, you know what? Disclaimer. I am not a transphobe. I am not a homophobe. I am for the opposite. Whatever the opposite of sexualization of children is, that's where I sit. So it has nothing to do with me being any kind of a hater. It has to do with protecting children. And so when we supported Pride, it was because we were... I'll tell you what I want to tell you about me, and that's up to Jen. But I was only in heterosexual relationships pretty much up until I met Jen. I didn't grow up in a place where I was running from who I was. I grew up at a time where it obviously it wasn't cool like it is today to be gay, okay, in the 80s and 90s. If you were gay, you were like everybody else. If you got made fun of. You got made fun of for being a WAP. You got made fun of for being gay. It didn't matter. Anything that made you who you were, that's what was the easiest thing to make fun of you by. Okay? So I grew up with my brother constantly calling me busy from Ready or Not and asking me if I was a lesbian my whole life. I played hockey. My mom said to me when I was probably 17 or 18, Jessica, if you're a lesbian, you can just tell me. I won't care. Okay? And it wasn't like I was in this deep, dark, like, oh, I think I might be. I mean, I honestly was just like, I'm not that because when I grew up, lesbians looked really specific. There was only one kind of lesbian, and it's called a butch. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but if you were a lesbian and you were out, you were a butch. You had short hair. You wore a lot of baseball hats. You for sure played hockey, baseball. You definitely played softball. You probably played soccer. There weren't like as feminine lesbians. So I just didn't really feel attracted to that. So that's why I wasn't really, I don't think I was having this crazy struggle. Now, I thought that I loved Gwen Stefani. I loved Fergie. Like, I really loved them. But, like, I guess I didn't really know, anyway, when I was older, how much I loved them. But I always had like this like affinity for Xena, Warrior Princess. Like, wow. Yeah, I really liked that show. And my brother used to make fun of me for watching it. He'd be like, "You're such a lesbian, like you love Xena." And I'd be like,
What was her sidekick, the blonde?
"Oh, I don't remember her name." The little yeah.
I
But
liked her.
I didn't like her. But that's funny because you're kind of like Xena.
And you're like the blonde.
So, anyways, like it just wasn't something that I battled. I mean, I thought that women were very attractive. I definitely, had no hard time looking at women. But it just was something that I really started to own in my later on in my life. It was just something that I realized that when I was found myself in my mid-30s, separated, I found myself having very little interest in dating a man. It was just, you know what, this is like probably wasn't what I was expecting to happen in my life, and maybe now I'm going to explore what I, didn't. And so I think that that's important because I'm going to always tie my experience back into youth of today, is that had I not been given the opportunity to develop through all of my stages of life, where would I be today? If I had to draw a line in the sand at 12 and say, this is who I am and how I am, then I never would have been able to go through all of my different stages, my grunge stage in grade 9, my preppy stage in grade 11, my fat outdoors, I don't know what the fuck was going on stage in grade 12 through like 22. Then I went through like, hey, what's up, homegirl? You're looking good. I found my feminine. I found my divine feminine. And I was very much in love with who I was and how I looked, and it was wonderful. And you know what? Then this is the next cycle of my life. And so I was given an opportunity by not being pegged down in a box or labeled to be able to develop who I am today and to have met you. And you're the love of my life. And if I had have, not been able to go through that, it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, my heart. When I was yeah, I guess that's exactly it, is that you got to be able to experience your life and to find who you are, and to keep pulling back the layers of figuring that out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's really normal. Like we try on different identities as we're growing up. Like I had an older brother and he wore Adidas and had his hair short, and so I did that. I wore all the black Adidas, I had my hair short, and I was what, like 6, 7, 8 in that range. Did you
wear your pants backwards, like crisscross?
Who's like crisscross?
Oh my God! Again,
you just dated yourself.
Number 9. Whatever. Oh come on! Every single person on this listening to this podcast is gonna know who crisscross is, and if they didn't wear their pants and Yankees jersey backwards, it's because they don't. No, oh my God, that's not it. Oh. Crisscross will make you jump.
That's it.
That's what that'll make you jump.
That's what
jump.
I was saying.
No, that's not. That's not what you're saying. Oh, anyway, that's very true though. You grow up with brothers and you wanna be them. And by the way, I don't know one girl. Well, maybe a couple girls I know that liked going through puberty, but puberty is very uncomfortable for boys and girls. It's very uncomfortable. And everybody would rather not go through puberty.
Well, it's sacred. Like the going through puberty. Like we have our daughter that's going through those stages right now, and we talk a lot about our body, the woman's body, and the beautiful sacredness of our cycle and the rhythms of our cycle, and how to honor our physical bodies in that way, and our divine feminine. And that is something that we need to honor. That is part of our humanity. And growing up, like, it's normal, it's healthy to try on different identities because you're trying to figure out who you are. And when we box ourselves into these labels, children often have a hard time saying, that's actually not what doesn't fit for me anymore," and have a hard time changing their mind because they feel like they've said it, right? And so to change your mind, and I mean, good God, your sexuality is not something you figure out when you're, like
8.
yeah, you don't know.
It's
You
absurd
have
to
no
think
fucking
that
idea
there's an 8-year-old that knows.
their sexuality.
I mean, there might be 8-year-olds that feel more masculine or feminine. I've seen it. I mean, it's obvious. I've definitely seen kids that,
Or that feel that they're in the wrong bodies.
and that's
Absolutely.
There's no discounting that. It's just that we don't make decisions at that age. We have to move through all of our stages in life, and develop into the adult that we
Grow
wanna
into
be.
ourselves.
And then from there we continue to move through our cycles and our stages. And that's exactly how it has been since the beginning of time. And it's only now it's being a bit disrupted, and we're allowing children to make decisions that they're too vulnerable, young, uneducated, uninformed at that age, and parental rights being taken away is very concerning. If you can't see that the country is moving into a communist type state solely by the lack of control that parents seem to have over their children, you're brainwashed. It's that simple.
There's a lot of government interference with the family now, and unfortunately, parents are losing the right to make their own decisions for their children. And I think this is why we're also doing this podcast, is because being parents, being in our community, being gay in a same-sex marriage, we really want to be able to share our perspective, because we feel that there's a lot of people that are afraid to speak out because of cancel culture, or being labeled as homophobic or transphobic, or just anything, just name called in any way because they have a different opinion. And so,
or a different value.
or a different value. I think this is the biggest issue that I have, is that one, we don't have any free speech anymore.
And this is fact. Like
We're
are
losing free speech. We're losing the ability to have opinions and thought, our own conscience.
And values.
Values.
Differences in values. I
Yeah.
mean, look, there's a lot of division going on right now, but I can promise you that I've never in my life walked past a mosque and been forced to go inside and listen to someone talk about Islam and Allah. I have never walked past a Christian church, been forced inside, and been forced to listen to a pastor speak about Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Okay, I've walked by guys on the street with a microphone reading Bible passages, but I'm not forced to stop and listen. Okay, and I've walked down the street and seen two men holding hands. I'm not forced to stop and stare. That's their right to walk holding hands. That's that gentleman's right to stand and preach. But this notion that now we have to be forced into this false understanding that men are women and women can be men and men can have babies, and we have to agree with it. And if you don't say, yes, a man can have a baby, then you're a transphobe or a homophobe
Men cannot have
or
babies.
toxic.
Biological men cannot have babies.
Like, I don't understand why that's okay. I don't understand why
That's science.
why we have such an agenda against religion and Christians. And I keep hearing from the other side that they they don't force anything on you. We haven't said the Lord's Prayer in public school, I believe, since like the 70s. Okay, I went to Catholic school, so I'm not going to speak to that. But we've taken religion out of the state a long time ago in Canada. And the fact that all of a sudden we can't learn about that, but you're being forced to agree and allow children to be part of this is really
to preach gender ideology.
It's really scary. It's really scary for me because I can promise you right now that if I had been born 25, 30 years, I'm not good at math. I don't want to make myself look too old either. Later in life, I would be the kid today begging my parents and pleading that I needed to have a double mastectomy and I wanted a penis. 100%. I used to put this little Q-tip holder in my underwear and dress up as Robin, and I loved the bulge in my pants. And I used to think I was like, oh yeah, this would be great. I mean, I had 4 older brothers. I wanted to be a boy. I am a tomboy. That's what I'm, a 100% a tomboy. And I would have been so confused by the notion that I'm in the wrong body that I would have 100% thought I'm in the wrong body. Like I've got to change this. Mm-hmm. Instead of going through and learning to love my body, love who I am, finding my divine feminine, finding my masculine. I'm a balance of both. Judging by my outfits, maybe more in the masculine, but regardless, I mean, I have learned to love the feminine that had been lost in me, that I had a really hard time loving. And if you had given me that chance, I would have bit.
Yeah, I think we both would have been caught in that. I mean, when we're growing up, I tried on lots of different things, tried on lots of different outfits and to try to figure out who I am. And I watched my uncle use shaving cream and shave his face. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. And they had like kid sets where you can do that, but it was for the boys. And I was like, oh, I really want to do that. And like, I would have been persuaded into thinking, well, maybe I'm in the wrong body. I would have definitely been persuaded because children are highly influenced. You know, like we're highly influenced, and we're also taught to do what we're told. That's what traditional education is doing, right? It's not learn and find who you are and trust your intuition. It's actually teaching you to abandon your intuition. Anyways, the whole gender identity, I think we're in a gender identity crisis right now for our future generations. My heart aches for the kids that are coming through that are being influenced in a way rather than taught to find love in themselves. And look, if you want to change your identity, if you need to use surgery or medications to alter your body when you're older and when you are no longer developing, then that's your right. That's your decision. As a parent, we are here to protect our children and make the decisions that are best for them until they're of age to do so.
Multiple studies have shown that if children who feel that they are in the wrong body are left to develop, most of them work their way through it. And most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, but because I can't give you the percentage, I don't have the capacity in my memory, but I did read the study, and it did talk about how most of these kids will just work themselves out, and a lot of them are gay.
Yes.
A lot of these kids that are now being sort of pushed in the direction of trans are kids that are unfortunately just like these girls that are getting these surgeries. To me, I'd look at them all and I just think, oh my God, you're just lesbians. Like you're just young girls that are just probably going to grow up to be like, you're just tomboy looking to me. And that's how I looked. And it's heartbreaking for me to see that, because to be honest with you, I don't really give a fuck about saying this statement, because trans, I do believe that this whole trans agenda is homophobia. I believe that people would rather have these kids being anything but gay. And so if I can transition them if they transition into the opposite body, then they're no longer gay. It's been discussed on a lot of different levels that it's homophobic. In Islamic countries, if there's two men that are gay, the feminine of the two, because let's face it, that's usually how it happens. There's usually one masculine, one feminine. Same with us. Same with lesbians, typically. Right? I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not lying. That the more feminine will transition to being a woman, will live as a woman, because in that culture, okay, it's a man and a woman.
It's now socially acceptable.
It's now socially acceptable. I'm not saying like maybe people don't know, maybe they do know, I don't know, but it's either like that's the way around it. Okay. So if you just let these kids go through puberty and develop into their 20s, and, you know, some of them are like, hey, I'm just actually a straight heterosexual person. Cool. Some of them are like, actually, yeah, I'm gay. And some of them are, maybe there is the 0.07% that are like, actually, I'm in the wrong body and I want to transition. Okay. I don't care. Do you? I really don't care if you want to transition as an adult and have the surgery. I do care if you're a trans woman and you think that allows you to come into my personal space, then I do care. So that's a discussion that I'll have when you want to have it.
Well, I mean...
But I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. I don't care. No one cares that you're trans. No one cares that you're gay. Nobody needs you to shove it down their throat. Just like I don't want to see a guy and a girl making out in public. I don't want to see him touching her titties and ass, and that's disgusting to me. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see two men doing it. I don't want to see two women, and I don't want to see trans. I want people to take their sexual practices back to their bedrooms and close the door and do what you want to do over there. And everybody else can just go on and not have to worry about seeing you in public doing things that are inappropriate for people under certain ages to see. And guess what? Even people that are older don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see it and I'm gay. I have no interest in seeing any of this. Like they're pushing this like it's normal. Like every gay person has these weird fetishes and wants to be whipped and dress up like dogs and have chains. It's absurd. This is not what, this is the thing, is that gay people were finally starting to just be normalized in life, living a life. We had equality. We can be married. All of the insurance benefits that people fought for, fine, we have it. Okay? And now all of a sudden, we're back to gay people are pedophiles. So thanks for adding the T and making it all fucking weird.
So for those that don't know, LGB is around sexuality. Adding on to that, we're going into gender.
It's not the same thing. So I don't care that people are gay, that people are trans, that people are two-spirited, even though two-spirit just means masculine and feminine, which we all are. I don't care. But one means gender and one means sexual preference. And you're not special because of your gender, and you're not special because of your sexual preference.
Nobody's above or below us. We're all equals.
Like, a man is not better than a woman. A woman is not better than a man.
Yeah.
A gay person is not better than a straight person. So in order to to celebrate this with Pride Month is absurd to me. Why? We're not better. We don't need to be better. Superior. It's not superior. It's about equality.
Well, and the okay, so the pride flag has all these different representations in it, but we're talking about equality. Who is it excluding? Biological or cisgender?
No, don't even say it. Don't even say it.
So women,
I won't
women,
say that.
Jess, women, men, and heterosexuals.
So like
the majority of the world, it's now leaving out. The majority of the world.
And God forbid you had a heterosexual person having a heterosexual flag. It's like, this is toxic.
So so a heterosexual person that wants to celebrate heterosexual living, can they put out their flag, or is that now gay phobic? Whatever, homophobic, whatever, what any of the phobias, whatever.
It would be considered homophobic, absolutely, and it would be a hate crime, and they would take it down.
So that's not equality. That right there is not equality. You're lying to yourself if you think it is. That right there is excluding people. That is excluding people. And now that we're pushing this in all government institutions, including schools, we are not creating equality. That is not equality. The pride flag it's gone way too far. It's gone way too far that people can't even talk. People can't even speak unless they're speaking in one narrative. People are afraid to even speak out to say, this is getting too much.
When we were kids, we were taught, there was a lot of talk about stranger danger and groomer. We didn't use the word groomers. Like molesters was a good word. We were always cautious of molester vans. Do you remember, like, the molester
Oh, the
vans?
white van? Yeah. I still am like, who dat?
So, when I was little, like, we were taught, probably because we raised ourselves and we were outside 24/7 alone and we had no supervision, but we're the last generation of kids that, like, literally raised themselves. But, we were taught to be very aware of the fact that pedophiles always would find a way to get into that sort of sacred space. So it might be, a counselor at, the girls were beavers and Girl Guides, and the boys were
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts. So, you always heard those horror stories of, like, I'm obviously not every guy, but, the guy from the hockey guys, that Graham, whatever the hell his name was, that molested Theo Fleury. You always had these pedophiles
Coaches
that would find their way into sports, into locker rooms. Another perfect example is the Michigan State gymnastics team. They had that doctor that was, God, he had been, like, raping girls for, like, I don't even know.
Under the guise of, I'm checking this.
In front of the parents, even. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Like, these predators have always existed. Unfortunately, they always will.
They abuse their power.
Yes, they abuse their power, and we've been taught to look out for them and to be aware and to speak up.
And to use our intuition when something doesn't feel right.
And I just am very confused now, because the opposite is happening now, where if I say to you, hey, I don't feel comfortable with Leah Thomas, who has a full-grown male penis, showering with me after swim practice while he has a boner, I don't feel like that's safe to me. Oh, you're a transphobe. You have two choices. You can quit swimming, which is what you've worked for your entire life. You can quit swimming, or you can shut the fuck up about it. And that's literally what those girls were told. Those girls all brought concerns to their coach and to their athletic reps, and they were told to shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, and those that are speaking out are, they're vocal about how in their emails from their institutions that they go to, told them there will be no discussion, you will not be speaking about this. Like, handcuff them, essentially.
It's very concerning to me that these regular people out there who are not gay, because in my opinion, a good chunk of these LGBTQ blah blah supporters are heterosexuals. They're not even gay people. Most of them are trans, or they're straight people that think they're doing the right thing, or they're, like, again, I'm not trying to be rude, but, like, they seem demonic to me. I've seen and shared so many videos of these protesters, and their eyes are terrifying. The way that they are, like, frothing at the mouth. I don't think that they're even gay. I don't think that they're part of that community at all. I think that they're like activists, and they're making everybody.
Well, social justice warriors, right? Like, I think that's the narrative, and I was one of them.
Well, we went.
I would get angry. And this is the thing, is that they use human emotions to manipulate us to fight against each other. And I was a social justice warrior fighting for those that, needed a voice or whatever, like, and this is now people are protesting and angry at each other. It's all divisional. All of it's divisional. And right there, that's a huge red flag. That right there is a huge red flag, because we should all be equals and learning how to respect each other, and everybody can have a fucking different opinion on this.
When you now have Muslim children stomping on the pride flag at a protest, you know it's gotten
Out of
it's
hand.
gotten way out of hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't even believe up until this point, I can't believe it's taken this long for the Muslims to jump in on this, because like I've been saying this for years. When are the Muslims going to say something? Because the Muslims don't typically go to the Catholic schools; they go to the public schools. And in the Catholic schools, from what I understand, again, we pulled our daughter out in grade 4, so we're a bit removed from the Catholic system. But the public school board has gone, the Thames Valley District School Board has gone completely woke and is shoving a lot of this down parents' throats. And I've been waiting for the Muslims, because the Muslims make up a really big chunk of those schools' populations. And I had heard of pride days last year, where half of schools weren't showing up, and I would assume that a lot of those were Muslim. But so am I suggesting, obviously no, that it's acceptable for that kid to be doing that? Absolutely not. You should not stomp on any flag. But I mean, what do you want these people to do? Like, these people fled their war torn countries to come to Canada for what? Freedom, for religious freedom, for freedom of speech, for everything else. And then now they're being berated by their teachers, telling them that they have to go back home to their home country if they don't want to participate in trans gay events.
A teacher, I think, was recorded saying that to one of the kids.
I mean, most people listening to this, I'm sure, maybe heard about that. But I mean, the recording is really scary, to tell a young child that his absence on that day is enough to have him sent back to his home country because he's hateful, because he doesn't agree and didn't want to participate. He didn't say, I hate gay people, I hate trans people. They just chose not to go. And that's everyone's right. This is where we've gone. This is where it's gone overboard, and this is where it's created division now, is that you're forcing people to participate. Christians do not support homosexuality. Muslims do not support homosexuality. That is okay.
That's totally okay. They're allowed.
That is their right. That
Yes.
is their religious right. That is part of their value system. There's a lot of Christians that have gay kids. It doesn't mean that they drown them. It doesn't mean that they disown them. It doesn't mean that at all. Conversion therapy is something that I know in the past, of course, that there's been awful, awful, awful things done.
And even not that far
Not
in the
that
recent
far back.
past, like our generation too.
But with that said, I also think it's within that parent's right. If their, 15-year-old kid said, I think I might be gay, I don't think it's a problem for that kid to go into therapy to discuss it. Do I think that that kid should go into therapy with a therapist that's going to tell them, oh, you're trans, move this way. Oh, yes, you're gay, move this way. That's not the job of the therapist. The child needs to go into therapy to discuss what they're going through and what they're feeling and what they're thinking, not to be persuaded one way or the other. And that's even if they need to go into therapy. Not every kid that thinks that they're gay needs therapy.
Let me chat for a minute around the spiritual aspect of this, because this is my deep belief around the spiritual side of the LGB whatever. I believe that our soul chooses our family. It chooses every family member, because it has when we come here, like, we have lots of lessons to learn. We have karma to heal. And every family member we choose is here to teach us different lessons. And I also believe that when our soul comes into human form, it also chooses its full identity. And you choose your body, you choose all aspects of your identity. And being here, walking on the earth, our role, our dharma is our purpose is to find full self-love. I think that because I believe in reincarnation. I've seen many of my past lives. And I think that because we have so many lives that we've lived, and for a lot of people that have lived a life as a man in several, like you, like Jess, like you were a man in a lot of your past lives, and the woman that's producing our show, she was a man in several of her past lives, and both of you guys felt, or more so, our producer has felt more masculine or felt like she was in the wrong body. And that's because you if you've been a man so many lives before, of course you feel like you're in the wrong fucking body. Is that like, what the hell is this? This doesn't feel normal. Of course not.
Where's my big dick that I can swing around? Where's that puppy gone? Right? What the fuck happened to that big guy?
So here's the thing from the spiritual lens is that if there's karma, which we know there's karma, and there's always a balance of the yin and the yang. There's always a balance, the sun, the moon, like there's
Dark light.
Good, there's
bad.
always, yeah. We choose also the lessons, and we also have to see the other side of the lessons. We also have to see from the other person's perspective. And so I also think that that's a big part in this is if you had been living lives as men before, you also need to be able to understand the life of a woman and be able to see the other perspective.
I think that's why I'm so passionate about this situation is that because I've been a man in my past lives, that I'm a protector of women. That's a man's job. A man's job is to protect women and his family.
Yeah.
Right? And so I do feel that in this life, why I am so passionate about this whole issue surrounding trans women, trans men, doesn't bother me as much, but it does because it's sad to see the women that are destroying, who they are and not coming to full terms with this chosen body in this life, in this form. But I think I'm so passionate about it because I'm inherently wanting to protect women. I want to protect women's rights. I want to protect women's safe spaces. I want to protect women's sexuality. I want to protect
Womanhood.
Womanhood, like the birthing process. I mean, the fact that it is politically incorrect in 2023 to say breastfeeding makes me want to scream.
No.
The fact that in 2023, the Mayo Clinic redefined a lesbian as a non-male attracted to a non-male makes me want to scream.
That's so funny.
Okay?
I'm a woman and I love my wife and she's a woman and we're gay.
And guess what? If a trans woman, like if I'm dating and I'm a dyke and I'm dating and this trans woman messages me on whatever you kids use, and I'm like dying. I'm like, are you out to lunch? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not interested. Like, women that are gay want to date women. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a non-man.
I don't understand how we've gotten to a point now where lesbians can't even be lesbians because lesbians, they're really trying to push lesbians into being trans men. That's what they're trying to do.
I just think that there's a war on womanhood right now because
there's a war on womanhood
on gender
and on manhood.
There's a war on gender altogether. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the laws of the universe is the laws of gender: divine feminine, divine masculine. And we're losing all of that, and for all the women out there that are moms that are who are women that have had children that know what it feels like to breastfeed, to give birth to carry.
Natural childbirth. Like, holler at all my homegirls who have done this without.
Women are the strength of a woman. Oh my goodness.
It's incredible what women go through, what women do, what women are capable of, and it's more incredible to me that you people out there that are not seeing this. I just don't understand how you can possibly be at these events and not see the clear agenda on destroying the masculine and the feminine, the divine. I can't imagine how it's so blurred for you, and how I can't tell you how many times I've been called a homophobe, a transphobe, a racist, a misogynist, like everything. And I just laugh. Like, people obviously don't know who I am, but it's funny to me that anybody with our opinion is a homophobe and a transphobe. And I'm sitting here in a gay marriage with a friend here who, like, you know, isn't whatever, but could be trans. I don't know, but I don't hate her, him, it, they.
She's laughing. She's dying laughing right now.
I don't care. Yeah. But I care that my 12-year-old daughter has to worry about growing up in a world where she's got to fucking compete against a biological man in swimming. And I do worry about her having to have a shower after practice with a biological man. And as a female athlete who played not high-end hockey, but, you know, I did all right. I want to talk to this point because I have experienced having to play a competitive sport against a trans woman. This was a long time ago. Well, it wasn't a long time ago. It was within the last decade. And, you know, I was less angry then than I am now. And I think that's because it was so new. This is just something that I hadn't encountered before. And being a tomboy, growing up in the 80s and 90s, I played hockey in a time where there weren't girls' leagues. So I played with boys up until I was, you know, I don't know. But I was older. And I think maybe at the time I thought, oh, you know, well, I played hockey with boys and, you know, whatever. But I'll tell you right now, we had lots of discussions about it because this was a grown man in a change room in senior hockey. So that's 18 and up. So there's 18-year-old girls in that change room. And it was concerning at the time, okay? And I am the one at the time as a left winger that had to line up and block his shot. And you know what? The motherfucker couldn't skate, okay? But, you know, you take any 6-foot-something man on skates and line him up with a puck, I'm telling you, it's going to hurt. Like, it's not the same. And I spent a long time, it took me until CrossFit. So I'm in my, you know, early 30s now. It took me that long to realize that women were not the same as men. I kid you not. I spent my entire life trying to beat men and be better than men.
To prove
that I could...
That you're equal.
That I'm equal. Thank you. Yes, because I was robbed in my childhood of just enjoying being a girl because it wasn't enough to be a girl, okay? I had to be better. I had to play with the boys. I had to be as good. I had to be as fast, okay? I had to lift more. It took me until I started lifting weights without steroids to figure out that no matter how much I trained, that the 17-year-old boy who'd never lifted a weight in his life, within 6 months of getting into the gym, would be lifting more than I could ever lift, was finally when I realized that this was a lie, that this was not, I was never supposed to be better, because we're different. We're not the same. There's no point in trying to compete because you're not, it's like a gorilla and a monkey. They're not the same thing. You can't put them up together. We are not the same. And so for this whole lie to come in and I have to agree with it and I have to play along and tell you that, yes, this trans woman is a woman is delusional to me. I don't care that that man wants to live as a woman. Do you? Long as you don't hurt me or my or our daughter or any other child, as long as you're doing your thing in the privacy of your own home and while you're out in public, again, you're respectful, I don't care. But the notion that I have to accept you having a shower with me or playing in my competitive female sport that we worked really, really hard to have.
That is not equality.
That is not equality. When we didn't have a league, so when we didn't have a league to play in, you know what we did? We made one. Okay? We made one. When girls were hitting 13 years old in London and they couldn't play with boys anymore, guess what? The London Devilettes were born. Okay? Because we realize that 13-year-old girls and 13-year-old boys are not the same. They cannot compete. It's not fair. They're biologically different.
We had to start our own league for rugby.
So when people say, how is it fair for trans? Where do they fit in? Guess what? Time to buck up and make your own league. Or I have an already better solution for all of this. I can end it right now. We already invented it. It's called co-ed. We already have it. There's co-ed hockey leagues.
Yep.
There's co-ed soccer leagues. There's co-ed softball leagues. Mm-hmm. And some of them get pretty competitive.
Yep.
So I already have a solution for you. And if you're a trans kid under 18 or a university athlete and you decide that you're going to live your life by the opposite gender, you may have to forfeit the idea that you get to compete in competitive sports at that time. Hence why you should wait until you're an adult to make your transition. I mean, I just thought you would maybe want to say something because I just talked so much.
I was just letting that sink in.
But it's true, though. I mean, it's something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, is because I hear this argument all the time from the trans community: is where do we fit in? You know, it's where did women fit? Women didn't have rights to play to participate in the Olympics. It didn't start that way. Women had to work for that. Women weren't playing hockey, guess what, in the Olympics until the late 90s. We had to work for that. Literally, this is just happening over the last few years. Yes, people have always been trans, blah, blah, blah. This explosion of why 98% of people think they're trans, it just happened. So go figure why. We can talk about that another time. But you can't expect that at the drop of a hat, everything is formed for you. It takes time.
It's like all the women's leagues. Like when I was in high school, I went to I'm from Belleville, and when we were growing up, we wanted a rugby team, but there's no coaches for that. We had to go find a coach, and we had to find a teacher who would be willing to help, and we didn't know one fucking thing about rugby, but we were like, we want to play, we want to figure it out, and we did. That's what we did. We met every morning and trained, and we had an amazing time. And when I was wrestling, I was a wrestler in high school and a little bit in university, and if I wrestled a guy my size and my body weight, he would have fucking killed me.
Yep.
He would have fucking killed me. That is not equality. That is not equality. It's equality for one person.
No, it's not. It's superiority for one person.
Well,
it's not equality.
It's not equality because it's only for one person.
The notion that, you're special now because you're gay or trans is an absurdity. We need to get back to recognizing children for their accomplishments, for their hard work, for their dedication, for merit. Right. Not for their sexual preference, because kids don't have sexual preferences, by the way. At least they shouldn't. And they need to be recognized for hard work. You don't just get medals for being gay or queer
Well,
or
that's also how we learn how to develop and like find our strength and courage and be able to trust ourselves, right? Like that when we strive to perform in something, you're working through a lot of friggin' emotions to be able to get to that place to feel like really proud of yourself, right? And we're losing that because everybody has to be included.
right.
Everybody gets a participation ribbon.
So these biological males that are competing, they're like number 400 in the male division, and then they decide, oh, I'm gonna switch over and be a female now, and now they're in the top 5. It's just I can't understand
Yeah, like
how people are fighting for this.
Joe Rogan shared some stuff with like the UFC, like the fighters that are identifying the trans women that are fighting in the women's league are destroying the women. Like that is not.
I don't think they're allowing that in the UFC.
Not anymore.
It happened. I
first-
think it only happened 1 or 2 times, and it was a while ago. And then Dana White was like, you know what,
this is done.
I'm putting a stop to it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, because it does. There's lots of other fighting organizations that it happens in, but just to not confuse.
No, that's good.
Just to not confuse. I don't think he allows it.
That's good. That's nice. That's good to hear.
It is, because I watched the fight.
Yeah,
And
that's
orbital
the image
bone,
I have in my head. Oh my god, it's awful.
the orbital bone of the woman just gets shattered. Like it's like domestic violence. Like, does anyone think it's cool to see a guy knocking his wife's teeth out? I don't think so. Where did we get? Where is
this okay?
Where did we get put off that this was, like in like 1992? If a teacher walked in on his students showering, it wouldn't be okay. But today he would just say, "Well, I identify as a woman," and they'd be like, "Well, what are you gonna do?"
Yeah, we can't. Okay, well, we can't argue with that.
I mean, we if you're from Ontario, everybody knows about the teacher in Oakville, the trans teacher.
Or what's it?
Kayla, Kayla something. Anyway, you know what? I've heard that it's a troll job. That the actual the guy that's doing it is doing it to prove a point. But either way,
He can't get fired.
It's wonderful if it is, because it's proof in the pudding that they don't care about the children, because no man should be going into school with, first of all, he's a shop teacher. As a person that's like kind of a tradesperson, a wannabe tradesperson, you have to be very careful when you're working around that kind of machinery, to have these prosthetic breasts on that are like
And mini skirts,
whatever size
bare
they
legs.
are. It's the hair. I mean, the nipples are coming out. Like for you to be teaching shop to young men and women and be walking around like that, and the school board allowing it, that right there is showing you that there's an agenda. Because in no world should a man or a woman be able to dress in such a hypersexualized manner. Like, I remember in high school, we had this teacher, this English teacher, and I can't think of her name, but I should have known. Like, I should have really been, like, out of the closet then, because she was so hot. The guys in my class used to do, I'm not even going to say it. Okay, they used to jerk off in class to her. Like, I'm serious. They'd be, like, rubbing their, I'm not joking. The guys that I went to high school with were kind of, like, creepy. Sometimes you think about now the things that they used to do. They're circle jerks. I told you about that. John Paul too was a little, it's kind of weird.
It's weird.
But they used to, like, really be, anyway, she was not even inappropriate, okay? She would wear, like, these oh god, she was hot. She'd wear, like, these pencil skirts that were, like, not too short, and, like, these like blazers, and, like, a button, like a collared shirt that she'd have open, but not low. Like, you wouldn't see her, you would hardly even see cleavage, and she was just beautiful, okay? People used to have a problem with that because she was attractive. They'd say, like, oh, she's too.
Got to wear appropriate clothes.
But, like, she was completely appropriate. She was very classy. She just was so beautiful, and the guys loved her. Like, of course. Yeah. But, like, so that was a problem. That
was
right?
controversial.
But, like, this is, well, she's just doing her. Like, it makes me worried, and it's why we haven't put the kid back in school. Because I can't in good conscience send her somewhere where
that doesn't have common sense.
Where they're basically letting They're normalizing the sexualization of children, because that's what you're doing when you're acting in a lewd manner in front of a child. That's sexualizing that child. Okay? You don't have to touch them, you don't have to do, but you acting in that manner in front of them is sexualizing them by making them uncomfortable and making them think of things or see things that they shouldn't be seeing.
Well, it's blurring the lines. It's blurring boundaries between childhood and adulthood, and it's desensitizing them.
There's something that I think we should move on to, and that would be detransitioning, because I think it's a topic that we're only starting to scratch the surface on, because they don't want it shown, they don't want it known, they don't want it publicized. How many of these people are coming back from these surgeries very ill, very mentally unwell?
Those that are speaking out about the puberty blockers, the surgeries, they're called detransitioners. And one of them that is that speaks so wonderfully, that has been very open about his story. He's a trans man. Scott Nugent.
He was in the documentary "What Is a Woman?" So if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend that you go watch that, because it really sheds a lot of light. And if you are one of these people that's, why are they so anti this? Why are they so worried? You should really watch that, because that will give you a very clear
You
understanding.
need to see
of
the
why,
full picture
of why we're.
Yeah.
But the detransitioning of these people is, studies have shown that people that transition are not any happier. They're not any happier. The depression rates are really high, not to mention the physical issues that they're having from the drugs, from the surgeries.
A lot of health issues happening, mental health issues happening. Like, I think Scott said he has had like 17 surgeries, and many of those surgeries were to correct the previous surgery.
Right. So this is something that I don't think a lot of people know, but these gender surgeries are experimental. This is not like a heart transplant that they have been working on for decades, and now they have all these great robots that really can come in and do a lot of the work for the surgeons, and it's very accurate. This is not what these surgeries look like. This is very experimental. This is taking skin from your arm and making a penis that is highly infectable, that will never function as a real penis would. There's a lot of really scary things that the media and the government,
they don't share any of that.
Share.
Yeah.
They just tell you that if your kid wants to transition and you say no, that you're a terrible parent and that your child will be taken away. Mm-hmm. There is a gentleman in BC who went to jail because he would not shut up about the fact that he did not want his daughter medically transitioned underage. And he lost and he went to jail. This is in Canada. This is in a country that you think it's not free.
There's just so much government interference with parenting. I think that's the biggest concern we have as parents, is that we're losing our right to be able to take care of our child.
If my child wants to get gender surgery as an adult, that's her deal.
Yeah.
But I have a big concern. I'm covered in tattoos head to toe. And if I wanted to take my 12-year-old today to get a tattoo, first of all, 99% of tattoo artists would never do it. Never do it. But if there was a weird one that would say, okay, I'll do it, CAS would come and take my kid away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the long and the short of it. If somebody would make a complaint and they would say, oh my God, you got your 12-year-old tattooed, you're a terrible parent, we're taking her away. But if my 12-year-old tells their teacher that they want to have gender-affirming surgery, that teacher is not going to tell me. That teacher will continue to have conversations with my child without me.
There's a huge concern with the interference with the schools. And in a local area close to us, we heard from a mother that the email that the teacher sent out to the parents was different to the email that they sent to the children.
It was not from a teacher. It was from the school board. It It was from the Thames Valley District School Board. And what Jen means is the email that went to the parents, it was a survey, the email that went to the parents was different than the one that went to the students. And the parents were not told that the one that went to the students would be different.
And it was asking the students.
It was asking them what gender did the doctor assign them at birth, and I again, correct me if I'm wrong, but something along the lines of, do you
What gender do you identify as?
yeah, what do you identify as now? And then there was another box
If you have a different
of,
name that you would prefer.
and then I don't know about that, but then there was another section of like 25 different things you could identify as. And that didn't go to the parents. So I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly what happened because my kid's not in school anymore, but I did physically see it with my own two eyes. I know it's real. Lots of parents had discussions about it, and it is happening, and it's concerning.
Well, this is there's a blurred line happening now, because if you know that the kids that have gone through sexual abuse, that have experienced sexual trauma from an adult, it's often somebody that it's close to the family. We know that, right? It's often somebody that's close to the family and it has close contact with the vulnerable population. Look, I love teachers, and I know you have, like, your hearts are in the best place, but there is a blurred line now with teachers having
Secret relationships outside of the guys with the parents.
there's a blurred line happening. That's concerning. And I mean, this is also one of the reasons why we pulled our daughter from mainstream education, because we want to be able to instill our family values. That's our right as a family and as parents, is that, and a lot of society has lost good values and core beliefs. And our values are what we hold to be important. And so I just feel like there's a concern with mainstream education pushing gender ideology on children when they don't know, they haven't even gone through the developmental stages yet. And as parents, we are losing our right to the state now.
You know, when I was a kid, you didn't know what your teachers' lives were like. Like, it was always a real big mystery. You might have
You'd
known,
always want to know, but you didn't.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Your teachers never told you anything. Like, you might have known that Mr. Ryan's wife was having a baby. You know, you might have known that. You might have known that your teacher was having a baby herself because she was pregnant and left on mat leave. But your teacher never really told you anything about their lives. Like, maybe they played hockey. Because in gym class, your teacher was really good at hockey and they would, yeah, I played hockey. But like, your teachers never shared personal information. They didn't. Not like that. Like, you didn't know. There was always, of course, like, I had this teacher named Mr. Dibley or something like that, and he was a music teacher, and I was always like, I wonder if he's gay. Because he didn't wear a ring, you didn't know, but it was Catholic school, so probably not. But like, you kind of like wondered about certain teachers, but they never brought that into the classroom. That was private, and you're here to learn about math, reading, and writing. And that's what we're going to do.
Academics, right? Like that's why we have school.
It didn't get brought into the equation, and I have a lot of my friends from school went on to be teachers, and you know, I know that a lot of teachers are amazing and are doing a lot of good things, but I think that there's a lot of brainwashing going on in schools. I think teachers are being misguided and misled into what is right and what is wrong. And I think a lot of them have lost touch with their gut feelings. Because I think that if they could back up and go back 20 years, 30 years to when they were in school, they would remember that these are not things that, we didn't talk about these things. We didn't talk about homosexuality. We didn't talk about heterosexuality. We talked about a uterus and the penis and how they kind of worked. That she didn't really say that you had to go on top of each other and do this. She just showed you the side view, and you menstruate, and the boys left the class when she talked about that, and then you came back in, and that was it. And you know what? They did that because there was a lot of immigrant people that didn't, you know, I know that as Italians, like, there was a lot of people that weren't educated, right? So their parents didn't really know how to talk to them about stuff. And so I understood why when you saw a girl in grade 5 get her period in class and she didn't know what to do, you kind of understand why they wanted to help educate girls on how to care for themselves. And so there was an understanding for that. But now it's just gotten to the point where it's divisional and you're trying to divide children from their parents purposely. This is one of the ways that communism is brought into power, is by using children and teenagers and dividing them from their parents and having them fall in love with the state. And I think that if you're not aware of that and you think I'm absolutely crazy, that's okay. It just means that you're not educated and that you're brainwashed. So I'm sorry for you that you feel that way and that you don't understand. That's not my fault. What I'm telling you is true. I'm telling you that in every communist regime, that this is how it starts, is they divide. They try to separate the men from the family.
They indoctrinate the children.
And they indoctrinate the children. And they try to have a genderless society where there's no men, there's no women, everyone's just kind of androgynous. And I can see that with my own eyes. I'm a product of that. I'm working to deprogram myself as it is. But this is something that's happening. And you have to open your eyes to it.
Yeah.
It's not homophobic to say that this is happening.
No, it's this is history repeating itself, unfortunately.
You know, I think that I just want to say that I think it's funny that, you know, if you had a child that was, and I know this because I had a very close, not a family member, but like a family member that grew up with anorexia. And, you know, I know that when that child started to develop that, I know that the right thing when she would say, I'm fat, I know the right thing is to say, you're not fat. You need help. Like, you know, you have what's called body dysmorphia. You're not seeing yourself in the same manner as other people or your physical form. And we're going to get you help because you're a beautiful girl and you are very healthy and you need to love yourself. We would never tell that girl that, yes, oh God, yes, you are fat. You are so obese. Stop eating. You really do need to stop eating. We would never say that. So I just don't understand where we've gone off on these tracks that now we affirm these beliefs that I'm a cat. Yes, you are a cat. Purr away.
Yeah, the furries. Like
we just affirm these beliefs that they have, and this is where parents are supposed to be guiding. We need parents to, you know, guide us. At the end of the day, I still had to wear a dress to church. I could wear my brother's clothes as often as I could get away with it. It was fine. But on Sundays, I had to be a girl. And I had to go to church and I had to wear that fucking dress. And did I like it? No, I didn't like it. Was it fair to force it on me? No, I don't do that to my kid. But you know what? It brought me back to, you know.
Well, and how you've raised Evelyn from being a baby. You haven't pushed.
No, I did. I pushed hockey on her.
Oh, well, we pushed hockey, but not gender.
She hates it. When she was 2 years old in a diaper, I lied to the registration and said that she was 4 so that she can play. And she cried every minute of it. And I took her from September till December. And basically the coach said, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get her, like, this isn't working.
Jess is like, you're going to be a hockey star. Right? And she's like, she hates hockey.
It's all I wanted was to be a hockey mom. And that was the first kick in the teeth for me to be like, you know what? You're doing what you hated. You hated when your mom pushed everything on you. So I'm just not going to do that. So you know what? I gave Evelyn trucks, helicopters. She had for Christmas when I think she was 3 or 2, she wanted a Batman pajama costume thing. No, actually it wasn't pajamas. It was just a Batman costume. It had like these awesome hard abs and she literally wore it for like a week straight. But then like 6 weeks after that, it was Frozen and she had all these Frozen dresses and then it was an astronaut outfit. And then it was like, but at the end of the day, if she said like, Mommy, I'm Anna, I would say, no, you're Evelyn. It's time to take off your dress and it's time for bed. She wanted to wear it to picture day one day. I was like, okay, cool. You'll look retarded and you'll be the only one. And that'll be a quick lesson for you to learn. So she wore that outfit to school. She was the only one. She never wore it again. Like, she never wore a costume to school again. It was just let her do it. Let her move through her cycles and she will figure it out. And she'll figure out what feels good and what doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's the developmental stages, is it not?
Well, I think
Right?
so, but now I think that we've
But you've
we've
always,
abandoned them.
but I think at the end of the day, you've always said, you're Evelyn and you're beautiful and I love you. And trust your instincts, trust your inner compass. And you never said you're a girl, you play with all pink, and this is you
But
only
I
wear
definitely
dresses.
said you're a girl. I definitely said you are a girl.
Well, yeah, but you didn't force
No,
things
I've
on
no
her after the hockey.
no after the hockey.
But
I learned my lesson.
but there's families that are raising kids non-gendered, and I'm really curious. I'll be curious to see how that plays out.
Well, it's sad for the kids, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But can I get a run on time?
It's an hour and 10.
Okay, I got a couple more minutes in me. I don't know about the listeners, but I do. You know, I think that we've touched on most of the really important things that we wanted to touch on, but there's a few more things that I would like to discuss.
Can we talk about the social media groomers that are out there?
Yeah.
Because so here's the thing, if we don't foster family values, if we don't foster loving connection within the home is now divided and children are now very easily influenced by outsiders. And they are now considered, I would say, vulnerable. And there's I don't know how he identifies, but I think as a woman,
I think he's identifies as a trans woman, but he's often wearing
he looks like a
makeup,
gay man
but he
wearing
has
lipstick.
a
though.
beard.
Yeah.
Like he has like a 5 o'clock shadow a lot, and then makeup, but short hair.
So
His name's Jeffrey. I don't know his last name, but
yeah, he posts a lot of videos around, and this is considered, to me, this is grooming. Oh my gosh, this is grooming, because he says things like, I know your parents don't love you, but I love you. I'll be your mother now.
yeah, like
Like
how
that.
gross.
That's
With
grooming.
a beard. Like you have a beard. This is so gross. Like, ugh.
So let me just be really personal for a second and really honest. So I dated men all my life until like meeting Jess. Like I found she's my soulmate. Like she's my person. But so dating men and identifying as heterosexual for a majority of my life, and then telling my parents that I'm now dating a woman, like I'm in my 30s. It blew them out of the water, and they had a really hard time with it. And at the beginning,
They still have a hard time with it.
yeah, they're coming around. They're coming around, but at the beginning, they definitely disowned me. Like they didn't talk to me for, was it half a year or something?
Yeah, and more than that. More than that. And the thing about that was that's funny is that, like, you know, people say like, yes, this is why we need pride parades, because there's still inequality. There's still parents that, you know, would rather disown their children. There's still parents that don't like it. But I think we have to get past that, and we have to accept now. I really hated your parents at the beginning. It was really hard, but I've come to realize now that your parents have every right to not be happy and thrilled that you just came out and said that you're in a gay relationship. They're now not going to have grandkids in the typical, I mean, they have a step granddaughter and they're very kind to her, but they had to realize that you weren't likely going to have a baby.
Well, they were grieving the loss of who they thought I was, right? And I get that now, but at the beginning, like my like child self was like just heartbroken, and I had to go through my own grief process with that. But I as a parent, I get why they had that experience. I understand it, and I forgive them, right? Like I had to go through my own process of navigating all of that. But in that, I could have been very influenced if I was a young child to say like, oh, my parents are bad.
Look,
Right?
100%. It's divisional. It's absolutely divisional. You have a different you've gone against their innate values that they've given you. So they're disappointed in that. They didn't want you to be gay. They wanted you to be in a heterosexual relationship where you'd get married and have children. That's what the world is.
Well, that's what I was doing prior to meeting you. So that was
course.
what they've known me as, right?
So I'm just trying to say that it's okay that, I had a bit of an issue, like not an incident, but I'm always, on social media fighting with people. And I had this lady that posted this picture of, a gay heart and it said mom in it or whatever. And I was like, this is absurd. Like, why are you posting this? Like, what's the deal here? Like, okay, you have a kid that's gay. Like, do you need to put that up? Like, why? Like, what's the deal? And her kid responded and said, she put this up for me because I'm gay and because, she supports me and she loves me. And I go, my response was, your mother doesn't love you because you're gay. You're not special because you're gay. Your mom loves you because she's your mom and because you're a wonderful human. And because you've worked hard in your life and because you're you and because she's proud of your achievements. Your mom is not proud because you're a homosexual man. I'm sorry, but she's not.
Would she be proud if you're a heterosexual man?
Like
would she be celebrating that?
She should just be proud of you because you're you. She's not proud and loves you more. And I had another person
That's the virtue signaling,
right?
though.
And that is the virtue signaling. And I had another person that I know really well that put up something that said ally because it's June. So she had this ally flag up. And I said, like, what the fuck is this garbage? Like, oh, so today you're an ally? What were you yesterday? And then on the side, she privately messaged me, like, what does that mean? Like, I just want to understand. And I said, when I came out, I brought my girlfriend to your business and you let her in for out of the kindness of your heart to train whenever she wanted and to do anything. You didn't make fun of me. You didn't say, oh, you're a fag. You can't train here anymore. You were very kind and you didn't say anything to me, which means that you're an ally. That means you're a good guy because you didn't say anything. You just treated me normal.
As a human,
You didn't do anything. So the notion that if you don't put up ally with a gay flag during June, that you don't care or you're not an ally to gay people is an absurdity. And that's what's forcing more division because people that would normally just be that person are like, what the fuck? Now I have to put up a fucking gay flag to say that I'm an ally? Like my sister's gay. My best friend growing up was gay. I never cared. A guy I played hockey with was gay. Most people don't care that you're gay, black, Indian, native. No one cares that you're those things. They tell you to care. Because if you don't care and say that you care, then you're racist, then you're a homophobe, then you're a transphobe.
Well, this is the whole thing around the virtue signaling. Putting up a pride flag, putting up all this to say I'm supporting, I'm a good person because I support it.
And I just have to let the businesses know that have the signs up that, and I know this might not be the right thing to say, but I don't fucking care. I won't support your business if you've got that flag up.
If you're virtue signaling.
I won't. Like, Jen hates shopping with me because why even bother? Because there's always got to be a confrontation somewhere because we'll walk down the road and, oh, I'd like to go in here. And as soon as you get to the door, they've got a huge pride flag. And then I'm just like, nope, I'm not going in. And she's like, oh, come on. And I'm just like, I'm not supporting it. The only way that I can create change is by making change on the ground. And that's where I spend my money. And I'm not spending my money in a store like that. There was another store in Stratford that had a sign that said, a portion of our sales goes to gay camp for kids or some shit like that. And I thought, oh, definitely not going to that fucking store because you know what? That 8-year-old kid that you're sending to fucking trans camp doesn't know that they're trans.
We didn't get to a lot of stores in Stratford.
I can't in good conscience support that. Why? If you said to me that there's a kid that comes from a low-income house, okay? And he's a really good hockey player, or she's a really good hockey player, and his parents can't afford to put him in travel, but he's just so good. So a portion of our sales are going to help Tyson be able to play competitive hockey this year. I'm fucking spending as much money as I can afford because I want that kid to play hockey. But I'm not spending any money so that you can send a confused kid to a camp where they're going to tell that confused kid more confusing things.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
can't do
interesting
that.
that even exists.
Like, I can't do that.
No, and I look, where we put our money is where our energy goes, and our currency is our energy. So that's grassroots right there, and
Yeah.
that's our right to make that decision.
So I'm really sorry that I've ruined shopping for you and that I've taken away that. But, maybe in July. Maybe it'll be better in July. I don't know. Maybe shit'll get better. Because May's like a warm-up. Everyone's like warming up for Pride. So it's like May, they got to like get into it and they're already starting. And then June, it's like you're fucked with it. It's everywhere. And you can't fucking go anywhere without it. I've been pretty good. So let me just finish on a high note, right? And then maybe in July, maybe it'll rein it in a bit and they'll start pulling the flags down and I can go back out. Maybe.
Well, as a gay couple going out in the community and just saying that, like so many people are amazed by the fact that we don't support Pride, and there's so many gay people that don't, and heterosexual people are relieved to hear that because they're scared to say anything, which right there is a huge red flag that we've lost free speech.
Yeah, we were in Grand Bend and we went into a store, and I won't say the name because I don't want them to get any hate, but I said to the girl, we spent a bit of money in there, and I said to the girl, I just want you to know that had you had a pride flag up, I wouldn't have come in. And this is my wife, so I'm not a homophobe before you fucking pull out your gun and shoot me. Not that she'd have one because we're liberals mostly and they don't have them, but, right? And she was like, come on, you're kidding me. Like, you're like, do you mind sharing that? Like, can you share a bit on that? And I told her, and she was like, she didn't really say all that much again because I'm sure she's afraid, and she probably thought she was being secretly filmed. And
people are afraid.
Right?
People are afraid to have any opinion.
People are very
now.
afraid.
But so to come back around, like the pride parades, look, they started out as marching for civil rights, like human rights. That's what it started out as, and it's turned into a celebration, which again, it's totally fine. But the problem that we have with going is that we don't support it because it's become over sexualized, and it shouldn't be for children. We're blurring the lines, and this is one of the biggest reasons why we don't support Pride, is because we're blurring the lines around the over sexualization of things. We believe that sexuality is sacred, and divine feminine, divine masculine is sacred, and it should be fully respected. And so, how we raise our daughter, we want to make sure that our family values are instilled, and so again, everybody's allowed to do themselves, right? Like that's everybody's right. That right there is equality. But we don't support it because it's over sexualizing things, and that's something that we're not comfortable with.
It's the same with drag shows. We loved
I love
Drag
RuPaul.
Race. I refuse to watch it now, but we did used to like all that stuff, and I still don't have an issue with it. We've been to drag shows. Again, my concern is why and where did we start bringing and involving children in this? That's the big red flag to me. Is I know for a fact that I've seen footage of Toronto. I've seen it in LA. I've seen it in Washington. I've seen it all over. I've seen Pride Parade completely out of hand with, men in bondage, naked, like they've got those banana slings on their dicks, but their ass cheeks are out. They've got these dog hoods on, and there's kids. And I just don't understand the correlation between gay and trans rights and being, hey, it's fine. I'm proud to be gay. Good for you. And bringing children into it. And it's the same with the drag story time. I can't understand why you would want to bring a drag queen into a library or a school and have them reading to small children. The confusion, I just,
Well, and children, remember, children regulate by seeing faces, right? And when people are in costume, and children automatically don't feel safe.
you've seen the videos, we've all seen the videos of kids with the drag queens, and they're like, how do you feel right now? And the kids are like, scared. Like, they're just, this just doesn't feel right. So it's again, I'm going to make this really fucking clear. I have a good time at a drag show. I don't mind it. I have to question your level of pedophilia when you want to do it in front of kids. Or as a parent, when you want to bring your kid to see it. I've got a real concern for your level of sanity and if you're understanding what it is that your child is seeing.
One of the if this is new for you to hear, if any of the conversation that we're sharing today is maybe new information, or the Democracy Fund has talked a lot about keeping women's spaces safe, and they have had different people on to talk about what's going on with like in women's prisons, how there's a lot of rape taking place because there's a lot of men identifying as women, and even in the sports world too. So there's a lot more people that are starting to speak out about this, and if we get canceled, well, whatever, we're already black sheep. That's totally fine. But we still believe in what we believe, and I think everybody has the right to have the ability to have their own opinions and speech. And I think the biggest takeaway, also check out Gays Against Groomers. They share a lot of really helpful information, because there's a lot of people in the gay community that don't support a lot of things that are happening with Pride.
I don't know very many that do, so that's a bit like of a concern, and that's a red flag for you people out there, is that if a lot of gay people don't subscribe, then who's there? Like, who is subscribing? Like, you have the very far left, right? It's a bit interesting. You have to unpack that. Why are the L, G, and B's really pulling away? Because remember, somehow that got attached. The T and the other things on the end got attached much later. And I think a lot of the LGBs are pulling away. And I think that it's time for people to unpack why.
Yeah, so there's lots of detransitioners speaking out. There's even drag queens that are speaking out about this stuff. And
Kitty Demir, holla, what's up? I hope you listen. I hope you come on.
So our stance, just to wrap it up, our stance is around full equality and the true meaning of what equality is. And that no one is above, no one is below. But if we disagree, we can just step to the side. Step to my left.
And you know what? People in wheelchairs have to wheel around the Sky Dome to look for that very, limited number of handicap washrooms. Surely to God, trans women with 2 legs can do the same, and you can walk to the family washroom, and you can, wait in line there, and you can go into that washroom, and you can keep women's spaces for women so that children don't have to be unsafe or put in positions that make them unsafe. So I'm pleased with ending on that. Walk yourself to the family bathroom, to the single stall bathroom.